Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Ravanatira Vanachari Namanatira Vanachari Vrajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Shrimad Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Okay, I'll tell you the verse number. Verse number is here. Welcome. Okay.
We can move up a bit so more devotees come. We have some more space.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajima Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishathanvidamscha Namavo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatpadeshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. What is the verse number, bro? I had noted in keep. Okay, that means yes. Janmashur Shita Shibir. I'll just tell you the verse number. So you all can take the verse. We don't have screen here, so you can check in your own mobiles. Okay. This is verse number is 1.8.26. Okay. 1.8.26. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance to the Srimad Bhagavatam class daily, all that is troublesome to the heart will be destroyed. And loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord will be strongly established in the heart of the hearer of the Srimad Bhagavatam as an irrevocable fact. Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nandagopakumaraya
Nandagopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Somebody may say, I am worshipping Krishna. Even in my class there is a boy called Krishna, somebody may say. Therefore, Shri Kuntimarana says, Krishnaya Vasudevaya. He is son of Vasudeva. If somebody says, yes, my friend's name is also Krishna and his father's name is Vasudeva, somebody says, then she says, no, hear attentively, Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya. Actually, he is son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and his foster parents are Nanda and Yashoda. So in this way, Krishna's name is addressed by Kunti very beautifully. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya. He is the one who gives pleasure to the cows. Namo Namaha. Welcome all of you for the Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning. We will recite this shloka and then we proceed with Prabhupada's purports. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Yedamanah Madapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gocharam Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Yedhamana Madapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai Vam Akinchana Gocharam. Two Prabhujis, two Matajis can recite, please.
Janmaishwarya Sutta Srivir
Janmaishwarya Sutta Srivir
Edamana Madapumar
Edamana Madapumar
Naivarti Avidhatum Vai
Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai
Vam Akinchana Gocharam
Vam Akinchana Gocharam
Janmaishwarya Shruta Srivir
Janmaishwarya Shruta Shrivir
Edamana Madapumam
Edhamana Madhapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai
Tvanga Kinchana Gocharam
Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Mataji.
Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir
Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edamana Madapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gocharam. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edamana Madapuman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gocharam. Let's go to Vaisheshika Prabhu ki. Just come. For our presence. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Janma, birth. Aishwarya, opulence. Shruta, education. Shrivihi, by the possession of beauty. Edamana, progressively increasing. Madaha, intoxication. Puman, the human being. Na, never. Eva, ever. Arhati, deserves. Abhidatum, to address and feeling. Why? Certainly. Tvam, you. Akinchana Gocharam, one who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. My Lord, your Lordship can be easily approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. Because one who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education and bodily beauty, cannot address you with sincere feeling. Purport. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences, and this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up. intoxicated by such temporary possessions. Consequently, such materially puffed up persons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly, "O Govinda, O Krishna." It is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that is unable to commit. Such is the power of uttering the holy name of the Lord. There is not the least exaggeration in this statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency. But there is a quality to such utterances also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. A materially puffed up person may utter the holy name of the Lord occasionally, but he is incapable of uttering the name in quality. Therefore, the four principles of material advancement, namely high parentage, good wealth, high education, attractive beauty, are, so to speak, disqualifications for progress on the path of spiritual advancement. The material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature, as much as fever is an external feature of the unhealthy body. The general process is to decrease the degree of the fever and not to aggravate it by maltreatment. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. There is no discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign, as much as the falling of temperature is a good sign. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. First of all, I seek the blessings of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, who is present here, spreading effulgence in the entire room, and also all other senior devotees here, to speak on this very important verse of the prayers of Queen Kunti. Basically, she is telling that when we chant the holy name, our mind becomes preoccupied with a false sense of pride that arises from four things. Either one has bodily beauty, or one has great wealth, or great education, or one is born in a high-class family like family of Brahmana or some higher class like that. So these things occupy the person's mind. It is a fact in this world, when these things are possessed by anybody, one loses the simplicity and humility oftentimes. Therefore, there's a saying, I heard in Jerusalem there is a eye of the needle gate. If you have to go inside the gate, you have to get off from the camel and take off the luggage from the camel. And you have to push the luggage through that small entrance. And you have to put the camel also down and it has to go through that hole. Then you also have to practically go on your hands and knees into that hole. What is the meaning of that? And only the meek and humble can inherit the kingdom of God, it is said. Otherwise, proud and infatuated people cannot attain the kingdom of God. His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj was once telling us in a class, he met one very aristocratic man, billionaire. So Maharaj wanted to tell him something about Krishna consciousness, but the man was in no mood to listen because he was celebrating his own piety. He said he was wearing a kurta and pajama with a golden button. And he told, Maharaj, I don't eat or drink anything without tulsi. And he took out one, silver box. And then his wife brought him a cup of coffee. And he opened that and put tulsi in the coffee and he was drinking it. And Maharaj just smiled, what can he say? Sometimes these people are, so much boasting about their own piety. They are in no mood to listen to any good sermon. Okay, this is one type of person. who is externally very proud, and he tells about his material successes. There's another type of person, like Chitraketu, for example. He was very polite. He was very respectful. When Angira Muni came to his palace, he invited him, gave him an elevated seat. He fell flat to the ground. He garlanded him. He sat in a crouched position in his feet below. And it appears that he is doing all these things in great humility. So that was the external humility which arose from the perfect rituals brought about by the good sanskaras in the family. He had that. But in his mind and heart, he had made up his mind not to listen to any good spiritual instructions internally. Therefore, Angina Muni could understand this is actually a form without substance. It is not enough to respect a saintly person. Like sometimes, in a grihastha's home, they welcome you and say, upstairs we have made a special facility for sannyasis to stay. You can stay here and as many days as you wish. You can go for the programs, take advantage of the facility. We have whatever you need, we provide. Only except sitting in the lecture, you tell us anything we can do. Because we have no time to sit in the lecture. They say, then how can certainly the service to the saintly person is of some benefit, but the real benefit that the saintly person wishes to give is the injection of the transcendental knowledge, which if they don't allow it to be administered, then how can there be purification of heart? And how can there be upliftment of the soul? So, other things are formalities, are procedures, which also shouldn't be neglected. They are also important. Because therefore, we say spirit plus ritual is spiritual. We need the spirit, but the external rituals are also important. But doing that external rituals without the spirit is like an empty capsule with no medicine powder inside. Or thinking that spirit is all important and ignoring the ritual will lead to offenses also. Not following the etiquettes of offering respects. Like Roma Harshana Sutta was a very learned scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was actually trained by Vedavyas in all the Vedas and the Upavedas and the different Angas of the Vedas also. Deeply learned. And thousands of sages were sitting down at his feet to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. When Balramji entered the assembly, he did not even take notice of him. He did not welcome him. He did not praise him. He did not bow down to him. He just ignored him. And the result of that was, in a moment, Balram took a grass and then touched his head, and on the spot he was finished. You will see that. So his learning did not bring about humility. Vidya vinayena shobhate. Or vidya dadati vinayam, it is said. A learning should produce humility. Otherwise, learning is good for nothing. Chanakya says that the learning of a great Pandita, if it is either it should bring you back to Godhead, or it should produce humility for you to want to learn further and further about God. Otherwise, he says, the knowledge is like a dog's tail, he says. Because he says the dog's tail is neither good enough for covering his back or for driving away the flies, because it always stands like this. On the other hand, the cow's tail, if you see, it covers the back and it can drive away the flies. So Chanakya says, a learned person whose learning doesn't produce good qualities is like a dog's tail. It's good for nothing, he says. So, there was one very great Digvijay Pandit who came to South India on the elephant back. He was very proud. He had conquered all over India, many, many powerful scholars. So as soon as he arrived in the village, all the Panditas, the learned Pandits, they all hid themselves and locked up their doors. Nobody was ready to come out. One small kid who was just 4 or 5 years old. So how old are you? How old are you yourself? 9. And how old is he? How old? 5. You can stand up? Let us. You can stand up, they can see. So the boy was like this only. You stand up? They can see you. He is very shy, I think. He is very shy. What's your name? Deeptimandas. So he was of this age only. 5-year-old boy, Deeptimandas' age. So This boy was standing playing with other boys in the village. So he saw this elephant coming along with the Digvijay Pandit, and he came to know this. Then he told Digvijay Pandit, you see, no Pandits in our village are ready to have, become your combat here. But I am ready, he said. And this great Digvijay Pandit felt insulted and he laughed loudly and said, you tiny tot will be playing the part of a Pandit? What do you know? Did you even have Aksharabhyas? Aksharabhyas means starting with A, A, E, E. Have you gone through even that? What can you argue with me? The child said, sir, please give me an opportunity. If I can ask you some questions and if you can answer, let us see. What's your question? He asked. So the boy immediately bowed down and picked up a palmful of sand. And he asked him, can you tell me how many particles of sand are in my hand? He asked. And Digvijay Pandit thought for a moment and said, nobody has asked him such a question. So he asked, how can anybody say number of particles of sand in hand? I don't know, he said. Then the child asked him, you see, you said you know everything in the world. There's nothing unknown to you. But here is one thing, such a small thing, which you do not know. Then what is your knowledge? He asked him. And the Pandit was like, Digvijay Pandit was shaking. He didn't know what to say. And the child said, if I ask the same question to God, He can tell you how many particles of sand is in my hand. He can say that. In fact, God can tell each and every one of you how many hairs are in your head. He can say. And when did your baby tooth fall and the permanent tooth came? God can tell you. That's the meaning of Abhijna Swarat. Abhijna means Lord knows inside and outside of everyone and everything. And then the child told him, God is all-knowing, not you. You may be great in some knowledge, but you can't say you know everything. And the Pandit got down from the elephant and said, what you said is correct. We know a lot, but we can't say I know everything. He said. And the child said, but if somebody claims that he knows everything, and I am like God, his brain is no better than this sand, he told them. And that was complete defeat of the Pandit. The Pandit fell at his feet. And this child went on to become Vedanta Desika later on. Vedanta Desika. He became a great, very learned scholar in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So, the learning should produce humility, just like the fruit-bearing trees, they always bow down. Ashoka tree just stands like this. You have seen that? Which has no fruit. But the fruit-bearing trees like mango trees, they bow down always. So, Vidya Vinayana Shobhate, it is said. So, this is about learning, I told you. In the same manner, we can talk about others like bodily beauty. When one gets bodily beauty, one goes mad. One thinks, look at me, look at my beauty. You see, there was one, one of the descendants of Prahlad Maharaj's son is Virochan. Virochan's son is Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj had a son called Sahasika. So this Sahasika, one day, he went to the pleasure valleys on hills, where it was a very scenic place, beautiful place. There were lakes, there were ducks and swans and lotuses and lilies and very mild wind blowing, very nice forest. So he went there to enjoy. So there he saw one Tilottama, one very, very beautiful Apsara girl arrived there. And he himself had taken many, many women to enjoy there. And he saw her, he became mad. And they both had a very long conversation about which we will not talk about now. But the point is, in the course of like flirting with her, he went to a point where they entered a cave to enjoy. And there her bangles were making noise, and he was speaking some coquettish or flirting words of praise. He got lost in that relationship. And there was one sage, Durvasa, sitting inside. Oh, like that he was in meditation, chanting. When he heard the sound, he turned around and said, who are these fellows like donkeys coming and spoiling the, very beautiful atmosphere which is meant for meditating on the Supreme Lord? They are coming and doing naughty activities. Then he cursed Sahasika, that you become a donkey, he said. And then, so she became afraid also. He gave her also a curse also, but for both of them, they became very remorseful. They fell at the feet of the sage, and he told them, don't worry, because you have now felt remorse and repentance, I bless you that you will be delivered by the Supreme Lord. So later on, this fellow went on to become Dhenukasura. And he was delivered by Balramji. And then Krishna delivered his associates and everybody like that. So, but why I am telling you, this is not the only pastime you have heard. There are many pastimes like this, where you find, people, due to bodily beauty, they become infatuated. You will hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada, without any hesitation, tells about his previous life. There are 3 lives of Narada are explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the first life, Narada actually says that he was a Gandharva, whose name was Upabarhana. In the heavenly planets, he had a very handsome body, curly locks of hair, and he was a very sweet singer. And his form was very attractive, due to which many apsaras were always surrounding him. He was always decorated with sandalwood pulp in his body, wearing fragrant flower garlands, and he would roam around with them. See, in the company of women, especially when a person is in a mood of sense gratification, enjoyment, then one loses his good intelligence and tries to impress the opposite sex. And while doing that, he tends to become frivolous and a very loose talker. That's what happened. So when he went to an assembly of Devatas, they were all singing the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he was behind and he was singing something else. Imagine the leader is singing Hare Krishna and somebody singing cinema song behind. How it will be. So one demigod cursed him. He said, you are insulting the Supreme Lord. I curse you to become son of a maidservant. And then immediately he came gliding down. Next moment, he was born in a rustic village in some remote place. Very remote village. Very few people lived there. And he became the son of a maidservant. And now nobody would even look at him. He became a very poverty-stricken child who was unrecognized. So one should know that he thought, I am a playboy. Actually, he is not a playboy. Our material bodies are playboy. It is, in China clay you make, China clay, children make various forms. Sometimes they make a horse, sometimes they make an elephant, sometimes they make a human being. And then later on the teacher comes and tells all the children, now children, it's time up. All of you give me back all the clay that I gave you. Then everybody puts everything together and gives it back to teacher. Correct, no? Similarly, our bodies are like that only. Somebody has a human body, somebody has a tree's body, somebody has a dog's body, cat's body, animal's body, bird's body. But this is all we are like a clay toy, this body. And we are seated inside this bodily machine. One shouldn't become infatuated with the superficial appearances of the body. And the body can change over a period of time. One of our students in Pune did a very nice thing. He took all the Hollywood actors and actresses, how they looked like when they were very popular stars all across the globe. And when they became old, how they looked like. So both he had taken. So you show how they were looking and gradually how they become older and ugly, tooth goes one, two out, all out. It goes up. Then hair also, the jet black hair turns into white hair. The clean faces become wrinkled faces. Young people become old people. And the old people are sent to the graveyard. And that's the power of time. You can see in this world. So no one should be very proud of all these things. Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimeshat kala sarvam maya mayamidam akhilam hitva brahmapadam tvam pravisha viditva bhaja govindam Govindam bhaja mudhamate. What is said in this verse? Ma guru dhana jana yavana garvam. Do not be proud of. Dhana means wealth. Jana means followers. Yavana means youth. And garvam means ahankar. Ma guru dhana jana yavana garvam. So we should not be proud of our great wealth because it will be gone in a moment. He says, Haratini Meshat, one slap of time, everything will be finished. Many, many years ago, one very big millionaire, I don't want to mention the name of his company, very famous company it is, because he told us to keep it confidential, so we are not telling the name of the company. So when ISKCON devotees went to his house, he had a big door saying that beware of dogs, don't come inside. Still these people tried battering the door. They only heard the loud barking of the dog. Then the watchmen were inside. There were one more gate. There were 2-3 gates inside to go. And the man was sitting deep inside. They couldn't meet him at all. Watchmen found out that these fellows have come for collecting some funds and making life members. They drove them away. So, many years passed. One day he was going from Pune to Mumbai in his big car, very costly foreign car. He was going. And in the highway, it's called express highway, we call it, express highway. So in the express highway, suddenly some 5-6 men, confronted. I mean, they came in the front of the car, standing in the middle of the road. The car had to be stopped. So when the car was stopped, immediately those fellows had guns and, sticks and guns and knife and everything they had. So they said, we know that you are carrying 20 lakh rupees with you. Give it. And the man was surprised how these fellows know. Because sometimes in India people carry a simple bag as if it's an ordinary bag. They carry big money sometimes. So he had kept in his car. So he was thinking for a minute, should I give the money or not? Then he looked at all the people. If I try to escape, they will shoot. And it's dangerous. Better give it away. So he gave it to them. So amongst them, the thieves were talking. Hey, he has given the money now. What should we do? Should we finish him or leave him? One fellow was telling that anyway money is taken, just leave him. Another fellow said that, hey, better finish him, otherwise he will go and complain to police. He was telling. In the meantime, the driver was watching who is saying what. What one thief is saying, what another thief is saying. So this rich man sitting behind the car, he told the driver, hey, immediately take a U-turn and run back. Because they may kill me. Run back. Immediately take the car back very swiftly. And then zoom, like that he took a U-turn and rushed back to Pune. And the thieves shot also. 2-3 shots they did, but the shot hit the car, but not the man. He survived. So the car reached home in Pune. And then we got a call in the temple. The man had told, after 3 days, please call this top Swamiji to come and meet the president of the temple. I know him. I have seen, because he would come for Janmashtami on his own, just for that once in a year he would come. So he came to know about me, so he called. So me and one more devotee, we went. So when we went to his house, when we went inside, we realized there were multiple doors, 8 or 10 doors, deep inside the house. And when we met him one-on-one, he was so frightened. His tongue was touching. He was even afraid to speak while narrating this whole incident. He said, I was just this close to death. They would have shot me, or they would have taken the knife and cut my head. I saw them having a big knife. He said, I was marginally saved. It's only by God's grace I was saved. He said, now I am 65 now. He said, even in this age, any time death can come. And this was my personal realization, he said. And then he asked me, have you brought any mala, please? Let's give some mala. We hadn't carried mala that time. Immediately I called one devotee to bring. So I saw how humble he had become now. Earlier he was not having any time to even look at devotees. He was not even ready to entertain anyone into the house. But now he could see the death coming very close. That gave him a slap. That's why he's saying, Ma kudu dhanajana yavana garvam harati nimesha. It means, harati means it can snatch away everything we have in a moment. So no one should be proud of wealth. Either wealth leaves us or we leave the wealth. Just like the honeycomb, if you see, the honeybees keep collecting honey. And then as they collect for long months or years, one day the farmer comes with a fire torch and drives away the honeybees and takes away the honeycomb. Similarly, death will come, at which time every person in this world leaves behind money which he doesn't enjoy. Maybe the other people are going to enjoy his money. So he leaves the money behind and goes. Or when he is alive, somebody may come and snatch the money, thieves, or sometimes even doctors or lawyers, they may snatch the money also. You will see that. Either money leaves us or we leave money. Either of the two is sure to happen. There is not going to be any third thing. These are the two things. You will see that. So therefore, one shouldn't be very proud of the wealth in this world at all. Money, money, money. Money is honey. People say, yes, it's like honey only. Correct example. Because honey is taken away from the honey bees. Similarly, money is also taken away one day. So, in the same manner, one shouldn't be very proud of bodily beauty. But what is this body? One should consider the nature of this body. What is, why should one be proud of this body which is made up of very obnoxious, foul-smelling substances? It's made up of flesh and blood and stool and urine and sputum and bile and all kinds of dirty, abominable substances nicely packaged with a skin, which looks very nice for a while. Once Mother Urmila was telling, when she came to Pune in a class, she was telling that what is this body? She said, every day when you go to the bathroom, morning we have to brush the teeth, we have to take the bath, we have to clear the belly, bowels. And she said, these are not very enjoyable activities, but we have to do it. If we don't do it, these things will cause the body to be nasty smelling. Is it not true? So, how can one be proud of this body? So, her point was, at no point of time this body is wonderful, except one thing. Shariram kaludharma sadhanam. It is said, the sharir, the material body, is a tool for attaining the ultimate goal. In that sense, it is useful, this material body. We don't condemn it. Vaishnavas don't condemn the material body. Mayavadis condemn the material body. Vaishnavas consider the material body to be a useful tool in engaging in devotional service by performing arati for the Lord, dancing and chanting and walking to the temple with the feet, just like Ambarish Maharaj engaged all the senses of his body in Lord service. Otherwise, one shouldn't become infatuated with this body. You will see, I was telling you all the handsome people eventually become ugly over a period of time and they will lose the body, I said. In the Bhagavatam, the example is given. Prabhupada says this material body is only a slab of flesh, flapping only for a few moments. Prabhupada writes in one purport. Dehapatre kalatashi purport. Another example he gives, this body is like foaming bubbles in an ocean, he says. When we were small children, we used to play this soap bubble, We used to have a solution, put a pipe and then you do like this, bubbles used to come. Some bubbles used to be as big as a football. You've seen that? And then it would go like this. And very colorful also. It will be all the Vibgoyar, all the 7 colors you can see. All the children will be showing one another, hey, look at my bubble, how big it looks. Look at that bubble. Some are small, some are big, and they'll continuously come. They're very attractive. But what happens to those bubbles? If you watch, it just goes boom, 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 pluck, it goes up. Similarly, our grandfather, boom, 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 pluck. Grandmother, boom, 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 pluck. Then one by one, all the people's body which looked so attractive, and our body also one day, pluck, it will be finished. So, that one should consider, that this body is destined to fall to the ground one day. Turnam jatet anapatet anuvrityu yavan, Bhagavatam says. Chanakya has one very nice verse. He says, Dhanani jivitam chaiva pararte pragyavut sannamitte varam tyago vinashe niyate sati. His logic is so indefeatable, powerful logic. He says, this body definitely is going to fall to the ground and it will be sent to the graveyard and going to be either buried or burned, this body. If that is so, when I am alive, let me use my body for the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Para arte, prajna utsrijet. Not only my body, the wealth I possess and anything else God has given me, let me use it all in Lord's service. If you don't use it, you will lose it. Use it or lose it. The choice is ours. We have the choice. In those days, Ekalavya Prabhu once went to the home of Ambarish Prabhu. You all know Ambarish Prabhu. Billionaire Bhakt is called. So Ambarish Prabhu was wearing a dhoti kurta, and then he opened the door and he welcomed him into his house and gave a big plate of prasad. So Ekalavya Prabhu asked him, Prabhu, how are you so humble? You are grandson of Henry Ford and you are a multi-millionaire or billionaire. But we don't see an iota of pride in you. Are you, this money, does it not make you proud? You possess so much wealth. So Prabhu said that after I met Srila Prabhupada, it became very clear to me that I am only connected to this money in this lifetime. But I'll be disconnected from it at the time of death. So as long as I possess it, I want to utilize as much as I can in building the beautiful temple of TOVP in Mayapur Dham. And he said, thanks to Srila Prabhupada for his enlightening teachings, it made me very clear that although people call me billionaire, I don't believe it because I don't own any of this. I am only a custodian of Krishna's wealth. I am not owner of this wealth. You know the difference between custodian and owner. For example, if you want to take somebody's car, you will go to him and ask him, Prabhu, can I use your car? He will say, yes, please, here is a key. And after you use it for a couple of hours, you come back and give it to him and say, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this. So while using the car, you are a custodian. You are not owner of the car. So to claim ownership for your friend's car and say that I like the car very much, I am going to keep it with me. And then what is it? What do you call? Then one is a thief. You are taking away a friend's car and claiming it to be yours. In this way, in this world, nothing belongs to us, including our material bodies. So I was in one of the colleges, I think it was University of Texas, Arlington, I think. I'm sorry, Texas A&M. I asked the question to students. You see, you are a gardener. Your landlord gives you a land. He gives you seeds. He gives you hose pipe along with a motor. So he tells you, sow the seeds, water the seeds also. And then when the plants grow and the flowers come, then he asked a question, the flowers belong to whom? So, flowers belong to you or the owner? I asked. And one boy raised hand and the flowers belong to me because I made the flowers, he said. So then I told all the people, see, the landlord is giving you monthly salary for your work. Some salary he'll give you. And he is giving you land, seeds, water, all the provisions he is giving you for making. Now all of you honestly touch your heart and tell me the flowers belong to whom? Boys, girls, everybody looked at it. They all said finally, yes, it belongs to the landlord. But one boy was very adamant. He said, no, it belongs to me only. Then I asked him, tell me, why does it belong to you? I only made it. I only watered it, I only made it. But he is giving you remuneration, I told him. Then he thought for a while and said, so you will surely give me monthly salary? Yes, said. Okay, then I'll give the flower to him. He was saying. Then I told the people, in this world also, God is giving you the remuneration of, the rains, the grains, the fruits, the cereals, the spices, the medicinal herbs, and also he is giving, minerals like iron, manganese, sulfur, gold, silver, diamond. He is providing you all this remuneration for your food, clothing, shelter, and civilization in this world. You all agree? God has given. So after having accepted these things from him, but when we process these materials and produce something, it belongs to whom? It belongs to us or it belongs to God? Yeah? It belongs to God because we didn't create any of this. He supplied us everything. Goods he is supplying. We are only processing it. Like I am making a big skyscraper building. But how did I make it? Prabhupada said, you dig the ground and then you erect a very big building. And then later on the building crumbles and again fills up the ground. What have you done? He asked. You are just taking from God, doing everything. We are only a custodian. He is the provider. And this is what will lead us to Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma Yoga means detached yet dutiful worker. This is actually a very good platform for one to... Now, even all of us as devotees, we have to be very careful because Rahuguna was taught by Jadabharata that our mind is very similar to an elephant, which expands its jurisdiction with his trunk. The elephant, when walking on the road, it has a tendency to pull a dozen bananas, or it will pull some, it will pull some coconut or something. Any shop, you will not ask whom does it belong to. Similarly, Jadabharata said to Rahuguna that our mind extends its jurisdiction by doing pious and impious activities for selfish enjoyment, he said. So when I read it, I was a bit shocked there. Okay, impious activities is all right, but why is he using the word pious? Pious activities are good, I was thinking. Then I understood, even our so-called preaching that we may do, even the so-called book distribution sometime we may do, or even the different things we may do, it may be for fanning our false ego. Sometimes. Like one time on a festival day, there was a big competition, in a temple for who will dress the deity, especially the main deity. And there's a big altercation in the deity room. Two big pujaris who are famous dressers of the deity, they both are fighting that I will dress the main deity, Radha Krishna deities. And they are having a heated argument. You dressed last festival, now I have to dress. Now, do you think they are having a fight for service? That fight is for why? Because they want to be prominent. When I was a new president in Pune temple, I faced one challenge. I'll tell you. When Guruji came to Pune, I had fixed one family for picking up the Guru in the car. But two more people came. So 3 big cars were standing. And then Guruji came. And because their wives had told the husbands that we have purchased a big new car and Guru should come in our car. So then all the 3 couples came to me and said, Prabhu, you should ask Maharaj to come in my car. So it's a very big problem. And the husbands were standing in the front and wives were just behind them. When that Maharaj came, I thought, I am very intelligent president, what I will do? I told that, when Maharaj came, Maharaj saw the 3 cars and asked me, which one I should travel? I said, Maharaj, whichever one pleases you. That's what I told him. So, and then the wives were giving pinch to the husbands and said, you go forward, welcome, open your hands and welcome Maharaj. They even supplied the words what they should say to the Guru also. So, and Maharaj was very intelligent. He said, no, whichever car you tell me to go, I will go in that. Because, I follow the president, whichever temple I go. He said, my Lord. Then all the husbands are looking at me, Prabhuji, which one are you going to choose? I was more afraid of the wives than the husband also. Because later on they are going to catch me. What type of president you are, you are merciful. You are merciful to one and ruthless to another. Like that. Somehow or other I pray to Super Soul in my heart because I know Matta Smritiri Jnanam Apohanam. So Lord only gives Jnanam, knowledge He gives, right type of knowledge. Then I told Maharaj, you can travel in the first car, I said. And Maharaj went towards the car, and other 2 families are jumping up and down. What happened to us? Then I told them, see, I'm going to give you a good news. You will be bringing Maharaj back to the airport, then from the temple to the airport. Now this family will take Maharaj from the airport to the temple. So that family was very happy. They said, that's perfect, no problem. We will bring Maharaj. Then the 3rd family was upset. What about us? I said, don't worry, I will arrange a program in your house. Maharaj will visit your house. Oh, wonderful. So we will come and pick up Maharaj to our house. In this way, I successfully pacified all the 3 families. But why did I tell you this incident? Is it a competition for service or is it a competition for fanning the false ego? Only Krishna knows. It's very difficult to know. Sometimes we may think that I want to serve, but why we want to serve? That hetu or the motivation is very important. It may be to click photos and tell people that Maharaj stayed in our house. We drove Maharaj in our car. You didn't get that opportunity, we got that privilege. So one can speak like that. So then we become driven by false ego. So Last part of the talk today, I want to say some practical solutions to work with, on this false pride and, dissolve it. How we can dissolve the false pride. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Dambam Mahadupasaya, Bhagavatam says, if you want to give up false pride by service to a very advanced Mahat devotee, one should go to the ashram of a very advanced pure Vaishnava and live in the ashram for a few days and perform very menial services like cleaning the floor, washing the pots, washing the clothes, cooking the food, serving the food, and throw everything else to wind and sit down and hear Krishna Katha from very advanced devotees. So by doing this, and one should serve and observe both. One should render service also to the physical body of the advanced devotee, and also one should observe the way they speak, they behave, they deal in situations, and that will help one to dissolve one's ahankara, it is said. And how does it happen? What is the science behind it? You will see that the great souls are very merciful, and they are innocent like children, and they are very straightforward like children. A child many times doesn't know to hide many things. If you see children, once a child made a beautiful painting, of Prabhupada. His only Giriraj Maharaj came to Pune, and he showed to Maharaj. And Maharaj took it and kept it with him. He said, "Thank you," he said. And child said, "Maharaj, I want it back." He said, and Maharaj said, "Oh, sorry. You just wanted to show me. Take it back," he said. And the mother was behind, and she pinched the child and said, No. Maharaj wants it, give it to him. And the child said, "But I want it, Ma," he said. And the mother said, "You can draw again, another one, give it back." And the child looked at the mother and said, "Maharaj, please take it," he said. Maharaj said, No, I have seen it, you can keep it back. He said, "Thank you, Maharaj," he kept it back. And mother was telling, "No, you have to somehow give it to Maharaj." Give it. Then he gave it to Maharaj. Maharaj, you know how sensitive he is. So Maharaj told that, "Okay, you make one more drawing like this, and that you can give it to me," he said. And child said, "Yes, Maharaj, I will do that. Next time you come, I will give you that," he said. Mother said, "You tell Maharaj that you will make one more drawing and that you will keep with you, and this you should give," she said. So, and the child was telling Maharaj that Maharaj understood. Then Maharaj told the mother, "Don't worry, when I come next time, I will take it." He said, "Bro, I am telling you, children are very simple. Very simple and very straightforward. What is here? Sometimes the father tells the child, phone call has come from that fellow telling that I am not there." And says, "My father told you that he is not there at home." You have seen that? Children are very innocent, you see. Similarly, very advanced, one of the natures of very advanced devotees, like Prabhupada's speech, if you see, morning walks, and many people ask questions. He was very straightforward and simple. One man told Prabhupada, "Swamiji, I have so much money with me. I am eating very good food. I have a beautiful wife, and I have children. I have a big estate. Am I not happy?" And Prabhupada looked at him into eyes and told him, "Look at the pig in the ditch." And the man looked at him. "Is he not happy?" And then Prabhupada said, "You see, he is eating stool and he is very fat also. Therefore you can understand he must be very happy," Prabhupada said. "But are you happy with his standard of happiness?" He asked this man. This man said, "Now I understand, Swamiji. Simply eating, sleeping is not the goal of life. We should do something for God," he said. Now imagine if any of us give this example to somebody. You are like a pig. If you say, they will slap you. Is it not true? But Prabhupada was very simple and very straightforward. And this is the way when you associate with very advanced devotees, they can dismantle our false ego. They have the power. There is one very deep conversation between Rahugana and Jadabharata. I will tell you one part of the conversation. When, long story cut short, you all know that Rahugana actually was a king, pious king, going to Kapilashrama or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which means he was a good king, devotee king. But you see, even a devotee sometimes can become proud because of holding a weak position and things like that. So Jadabharata was drawn into carrying the palanquin for a while. And being a pure devotee, he was walking in a way that the ants will not be killed. It was moving zigzag, and he became angry, Rahugana, and he shouted at him. Later on, he spoke very sarcastically to him. You are very thin, isn't it? And you carried me for a very long time, isn't it? And you carried me all alone. Therefore, you are probably feeling tired, isn't it? Like that, he was joking with him. Because he was not alone. He was with 3 others. It wasn't a long time. It was just now he picked up the palanquin. And he wasn't thin either. He was pretty fat. All of us, when we are addressed by someone sarcastically, it will be very piercing to our heart. Very difficult to tolerate. But Jadabharata tolerated. And he didn't speak back. And then, now Rahugana became even more angry. Now, because Jadabharata didn't take it, so he became angry and he shouted, Rahugana said, he said, you man, I can punish you like the way a Yamaraj can punish the residents in hell. Because I am the king and you are my servant. If you don't obey my order, I can severely take you to task. At that time, Jadabharata smiled and he spoke. Because he thought in his mind, he is a king after all. A king cannot be so arrogant. Because if king is arrogant, he can't lead his praja properly. So he spoke to him, my dear king, what are you talking about? In this lifetime, you are a master, I am your servant. In the next life, our situations may be reversed. Because the soul is different from the body, like a bird put in a cage. So, those people who know about the soul's presence in the body, will not talk like this, like that he said. As soon as he heard it, immediately he became enlightened. He got off from his palanquin and fell at his feet. But that was not all. Here comes the main point. He argued with Jadabharata and said that, you said that my trying to train you up to behave like a proper servant is like beating a dead horse. That's what he had told. Jadabharata told him that, I don't identify with the body. So you are trying to insult me is like, hitting your head against a wall. Because, can you insult a great soul and make him feel morose? For example, go to Buddha and give a try. Insult him on the face. Who will be morose? There are people who tried insulting Buddha. They became morose. Because you give him insulting words, he will reflect it back on you. He won't take it. So, great soul will never be insulted. So, Jadabharata told him that I am aloof from the body. So, your words of insult doesn't touch me at all. So, then he got down and asked two intelligent questions he asked. He asked, if you put sweet rice in a stove and heat it, along with the vessel, the sweet rice also starts boiling. Similarly, how can you say that when I am hurling insulting words on you, it doesn't touch you at all? It seems that the soul is also affected when when the body is insulted. That was one question he asked. Another question he asked, is it not my duty as a king to train up my citizens in proper conduct and behavior? Then how can you say that my trying to shape you up is a wrong act? Like that he asked 2 questions. Jadabharata responded back to this. So he said, my dear king, you are speaking as if you are very knowledgeable, but let me tell you the truth. Only a king who becomes a representative of God, emanating God's love towards his citizens, has the right to chastise the citizens. Because you didn't act in that way. You actually acted arrogantly in a mood of lording over the living any days. And in a mood of dominating the living beings. And you are disconnected from God by such a behavior, due to which you lose the adhikar to rectify the faults in others because you yourself are faulty. That was one of the things he told them. Just like, for example, he gave an example about this thing, mind. Regarding the mind, he gave one very, very nice example. Vishwanath Chakravarti gives this example. He says, is a luggage heavy or light? If I ask you, objectively you may say it is heavy or it is light, correct, no? Like I was going in a train, I was boarding a train. So just before me, one young girl was going with a, luggage, heavy luggage. She was having a wheel bag. She took it. And then when I was coming, I also got into the train. So she asked one boy next to her, can you please help me put it on the top of the bird, she asked. And the boy said, why not? Immediately picked it up and put it on the top, very happily. So, and he asked, madam, any other luggage? Can I help you? Please tell me. Neither he was asking. Of course, I was thinking, if I asked him to put luggage, he won't be so happy with me. Correct, no? Because she was a young, beautiful girl. This boy wanted to show his masculine prowess. So he is saying, I can put your luggage, if I want I can carry you also, no problem. And because his mind is afflicted by material attachment. So because of that material attachment, the luggage has become light for him. When a sadhu baba like me is asking, can you please put the luggage? He will ask me, am I your servant? Like that he will ask me. He will ask, who are you? How can you tell me to put it? Like that he will ask me. Correct, no? Now the same luggage appears very heavy for him. So this is what Jadabharata told Rahuguna, that you are thinking objectively, you have understood. Your mind is bitten by the serpent of false pride, due to which you have developed a dominating nature, bossing nature, controlling nature, which is not befitting a pure soul. So a pure soul deserves to be carried on a palanquin, free of cost, and anybody would want to serve. If a sadhu, like Prabhupada wanted to go up and come down in the Vrindavan temple in a palanquin, when devotees to Prabhupada told the devotees, I am very sorry to take this service from all of you, because my body is very emaciated and I can't walk. Devotees cried tears. They said, Prabhupada, we can carry 1,000,000 times like this. A saintly person, there will be competition for carrying, correct, no? But not for arrogant king like Rahuguna. And also he told that because you are afflicted by false pride, your so-called training of the citizens is simply an eyewash. First of all, you should get purified yourself. Like in those days, there is a pastime from LA temple. Vijay Prabhu might have heard about this. His Holiness Danavir Maharaj writes it in his book, one of his books. There was a president called Keshav Prabhu in those days. So in LA temple, they had a policy that when you are distributing books, you can distribute to men, women, everybody. But when you're talking to women, you talk less. 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And then you give the books and push off. For brahmacharis, they had made that policy. You don't keep talking for a long time. So there was one devotee who was talking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So Keshav Prabhu saw another devotee, he told, hey, go and call that fellow back. So there were 4 or 5 girls. Later on, all of them went away. Only one girl was talking for a long time. So he went to call this devotee back. This devotee said, I'm coming. Another 10, 15 more minutes he took. Later on, when he came back, Keshav Prabhu asked him, Prabhu, 30, 40 minutes, what are you talking like this? And you can hand her over to some other Mataji who can talk to her. So he said, Prabhu, I am delivering a conditioned soul. Conditioned soul is suffering and asking sincere questions, and I am supplying wonderful answers. And she told that I am very intelligent in giving answers. Therefore, I became more enthused to give more answers. So sometimes we feel, this girl liked my lecture, this girl likes my sermon, and so we may be afflicted by false pride. So the president told him that, Prabhu, you are not sufficiently strong in spiritual life to deliver that conditioned soul. Like if somebody is drowning in the water, you want to also carry them to the shore. Imagine I carry one more person and put on my shoulder, and I have to swim. How much stamina I need? So it's not very easy in this world. So before we can deliver, what I would do, I will tell you, I will tie a rope to the tree, and that rope I will throw in the water. And that tree is Prabhupada, that is ISKCON, or senior devotees. And with that help we can pull. We can connect people to those who can deliver them, and not try to deliver in the name of, one Toyota family lady was connecting with one sannyasi in ISKCON in those days, and sannyasi connected very closely with her. And many devotees objected to that. Finally, he ended up wanting to marry her. The matter came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was not very happy. But then finally Prabhupada thought, okay, at least he wants to marry properly. He's not eloping with somebody. But then later on we came to know she was not a very direct connection to Toyota family. Little distant connection. But the point is, the sannyasi was trying to preach to her and make her a devotee so that she can give big donation to ISKCON, and in the course of delivering her, he got delivered. You will see that. Because we should know our strength. That's what Jadabharata told Rahuguna. You want to act as representative of God, but first qualify yourself. Physician, heal thyself. That is a statement in English, in a proverb. So, therefore, when Rahugana heard such wonderful sermons from Jada Bharata, his ego got dismantled, and he became humbled by that association. Advanced Saintly Devotees Association is very purifying and elevating and humbling, and we will develop that proper quality, and that will give us the proper climate in our mind to call out the holy name fervently. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Like a balloon, if you put a balloon, puff it up, it looks very big, but if you take a needle and prick it, so our false ego has to be pricked. So, by giving up our material designations and giving up propensity for sense gratification, these two things are the cause of pride. So, one can, we have to convert the propensity for sense gratification into propensity for service. Like instead of Ravan-like mentality, Hanuman-like mentality. And instead of identifying with material designations like I am a man or a woman, or I am handsome or ugly, or I am rich or poor, I am learned, or instead of all these things, one should identify as Krishna Das or Krishna Dasi. I am servant of the Lord, servant of the devotees. How can I serve, satisfy and please Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas? If you make that as a focus and reinforce that identity again and again daily while chanting the holy name and studying the scriptures, I am sure that will help us to dismantle the false pride, which is just a superfluous covering over the soul. That will be eventually dismantled. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Prabhu, you can say a few words. You can give the mic to Prabhu. We have a mic. Also, should we send this? God Bhakta.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to add anything, Prabhu?
No,
Or subtract anything? So, Devarat Prabhu told me to speak. So, on his order, for his pleasure, I came to speak. I didn't know Prabhu will be there. If I knew Prabhuji is coming, I would have requested him to sit and speak. So, Prabhuji, it is his humility. He is teaching by his example. He is a very shining example of humility. So, that's one of the reasons why there is one verse in the Dhruva Maharaj section which says, Yasya prasanno bhagavan gunair maitriyadibihi tasmai namanti bhutani nimnamapa ivasvayam. Just like Niagara waterfalls is coming down. Similarly, the whole world bows down or is charmed by the nature of a devotee who has made friendly relationships with the Lord by dint of his transcendental qualities. So, many of the devotees in Pune saw ISKCON Vaisheshika Prabhu for the first time personally, although they have seen him in videos and heard about his glories. But when he came, there was such a huge crowd, and he said, I am going to personally distribute books. The whole temple wanted to go with him. So that I think from that was the first year Pune stood first in the world. First rank Pune, and last 3 years Pune is standing first rank. I think Prabhuji gave a big push and went back. One more time he came, 2 times, and I would request Prabhu to come again. So that we don't become complacent in our book distribution. And we keep up you can give us one more push. When I called him another time, he said, every time I cannot come, but sometime I will come, he said. He has many places where he is invited, and we are looking forward to having Prabhuji come and inspire all of us. Thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. God Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai.